the soul. We taking our position and never letting go.
All right, guys, loaded this weekend, right? I mean, the fun has now begun. NFL season underway. Sunday, loaded card. Week 2, college football. Oh, yeah, and you got this thing called baseball that's still going on. A couple more weeks, and, you want to mix in a NASCAR race. I mean, hell, the list goes on. Nobody better to get you covered here and make you profitable through the end of the year and beyond than our man, Tony George, DOCSPORTS.com. He joins us. And, Tony, it is a fun-ass time of year, is it not, my friend?
It's fun, tedious, stressful, busy, nerve-wracking, edge-of-the-seat excitement, and trying to maintain focus. Launching a couple of new video series this week, the Docs 10 and 10 games in 10 minutes with me and Scott Spreitzer. Weekly marquee matchup, all the daily videos, all the radio spot appearances. Of course, the hidden gem of them all, the Joe Raineri show.
Absolutely.
And wife has been busy with the Circa contests and the Westgate contest with their little proxy thing out here. So we've been footballed to death over the last a couple of weeks here, Joe, but we're ready to go. Did open up last night with the Bears, and they failed to get it done. What a travesty on offense that was for them. I mean, they out-first downed them. They out-yarded them. And you'd look at the box score and go, boy, the Bears beat them. Anytime you hold Aaron Rodgers to 10 points or less, you're thinking.
I got a good shot at this. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just didn't happen. So nonetheless, small play, but there's going to be some surprises this week.
Yeah, Tony, we say it all the time, Tony. I mean, the preseason. Well, you're looking at a guy yesterday, two guys that really didn't play at all this preseason. Aaron Rodgers didn't take a snap. And last I checked, offense is all about timing and coordination. Where are you supposed to get that, Tony, exactly?
I don't know. You think they work on it through the preseason and have that ready to go, but I thought both sides were slow. I don't know whether the Packers and defense has improved that much or their defense is just a hell of a lot better than it was last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And listen, Green Bay spent a lot of money in the offseason for defense. It seems that they've got some guys in there now that can bring the pressure, but 10-3, Tony, I don't know. What's your outlook for do you think we're going to start seeing maybe a little less scoring from some teams that maybe sat everyone as the season begins here over the first couple of weeks, or was that an outlier game in your opinion last night?
Well, it's always NFC Central black and blue, bruise fast, smash mouth, kind of like Big Ten football with Iowa and Michigan State type game, so I'm not going to read a lot into that. I mean, you never put too much stock into any one game, and we'll address that when it comes to college football lines this week. But I don't know if that's a precursor or not for what's going to happen on Sunday, Joe.
Now tell us, Tom, what did you learn first week college football in the books here, brother? What did you learn? MAC Conference, ACC, Mountain West. Did anything jump out at you that you said, "Wow, that was unexpected"?
Well, there were basically you realize at this time of year that teams are not in midseason form. They're not going to live up to Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso's hype and ESPN and Fox and all these analyst shows about how great. There's still a bunch of 19-year-old kids still trying to feel their way around, get themselves organized. There were some coaching blunders too. Early season coach Florida State was a perfect example of, I think you avoid the rush and get rid of Taggart right now. I think if UL Monroe gives them a game this weekend, which they might at least cover that number, we'll see how they respond. So I didn't put a lot of stock into the opening weekend. I thought there were some teams that looked very good. Texas being one of them last week. I thought they played extremely well. That was a weak sister, but it was a good weak sister. I thought that Cincinnati played well, especially on the defensive side of the ball, made UCLA look useless. And I don't know whether Cincinnati's that good or they just stepped up against a Power Five conference team and played that well, or if UCLA is still adjusting to Chip Kelly's offense, which they don't have the personnel to implement it, especially not that quarterback. So that was a takeaway I had there. I thought Nebraska would be really sharp in their debut, and they struggled to beat South Alabama. I was down to Circa on Sunday night. Annette, my wife Annette, who's the Vegas proxy girl, she was signing up some people for the Circa contest, and they brought out the sheets right out from behind where they printed out the opening lines for college football, and they had Colorado at 7. And I walked right up there with all the money I had in my pocket. I just ran down there with her, so I didn't have my usual, I'm going to go bet bankroll.
Right.
But whatever I had on me, $400 and some dollars, I said put it all on Colorado.
Right.
And now the line's dropped to 3 in some places and 3.5. But now I might take Nebraska and try and middle it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good middle spot, but. At the end of the day, here's what I would say. And my Saturday card has a big 7-unit play on it. It's the first time I've had that big of a play in the opening, this early in the season, probably in 6 or 7 years. But if you react to what you saw last week and think it carries over into the next week, you're making a big mistake, especially in pro football, meaning you're talking about your reference to the Bears and Packers being a 10-3 game, and do we expect to see that on Sunday? Probably not. Don't overreact to what you saw, but there were a lot of teams, that really struggled last week that are a lot better than that. Odds makers set the lines up like that, and they left some soft lines out there because they know the public's going to overreact to what they saw last week, and they're either a bigger underdog or a shorter favorite because of it. And I've been doing this 27 years, so I'm relatively sure I'm going to expose some of that on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, and that's what makes this time of year so much fun, guys, especially in college football, because you got a lot of people, Tony, who haven't bet all year. They wait for football season. They're the recreational public bettor. The books already know what they're going to do. They're going to come in, recency bias, and so it does leave some holes on the board there with some numbers that, you're scratching your head going, really? Okay, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and do this. I think you're seeing it a lot in baseball right now, where there are some teams being so overvalued, Tony, and some teams being given absolutely no value. There's some holes still on the baseball board as well.
Well, my baseball has slipped and fallen the last 3 weeks. I'm fully transparent, Joe. We had a great season for the most part, and we got in here to do a little bit of a funky slump. I passed yesterday in baseball. If you're not willing to lay chalk or put your balls on the chopping block for the run line pick, and you can't find totals that aren't that you find totals that are non-sharp lines, it's best just to walk away and live to fight the next day. And you're going to see a lot of this here throughout the rest of the season. Now, today, I found the best totals line that I've seen in 2 months.
Wow.
And the game also has some meaning. So they're going to bring it. And this my biggest totals play of the season goes tonight. So I'm excited about that. One of the games I left off my card, whenever I have a big 6, 7, or 8 unit play. This is a 7 unit play. I had an 8 unit play the other day on your show. We hit that one.
Yep.
Last time I was on your show, we had the Yankees run line. Last game against the Mariners, 7-3 rocket chair winner. I don't put these out very often, but one of the games I left off the board today that I thought was a soft line was the Arizona game.
Ooh.
Against the Reds. You take a look at I don't have my notes in front of me. I did a free play video on this other YouTube channel earlier this morning, but Robbie Ray has won 7 out of his last 8 decisions. He's pitched a 3.8 ERA on the road this year. Opponent's batting average against him on the road is 228. I mean, Cincinnati, behind Molly, his last 26 starts, the Reds have won 5 out of 26 starts. Why he's not on the trade cheer along with teeth to it. But if you look at all the key handicapping angles, slugging percentage, on base percentage, bullpen, starter, road versus home dichotomies, all those things added in, and the fact that the D-backs, are behind, just behind the Cardinals for the second wild card spot. They're playing hard. They've won 9 out of their last 10.
Crazy.
After going on a 3-7 slide. So there might be some worth, and that's my free play today, on for Docs, is the D-backs. And I see now they shut up to about $1.27, $1.28. So,
right.
Obviously they're getting some buyback now, and that cheap number's gone under 120. But if you can catch them under 135 or under, it's probably worth the stretch.
If you guys, and here it is, guys, very simple, DOCSPORTS.com. You go there. It is so simple. You got the links here below. They'll drop a free $60 into your account, and then you can head over to Tony's page. You can get his play tonight, Major League Baseball, college football, NFL, hell, NASCAR. Tony, you got a little bit of everything here at Docs for somebody, right?
Yeah, we do. NASCAR's this Sunday. We took a step back when we're 3-1 our last 2 races, and up over $800 for about $700 and some dollars. Don't quote me, but it's over $700 for a $100 player. We had a top play last week that didn't get it done in the Darlington race, but we'll bounce back this Sunday. It's going to be a short window for the lines to come out, so the plays will be up around 10 o'clock Pacific time. The race starts at 2, so you got to get over there and get that. Obviously, I'm excited about the NFL this weekend. There's a lot of big numbers in the NFL. I mean, Washington sucks. They got a quarterback problem. They got more than a quarterback problem at the Redskins. They've got but laying 10, just like last week in college football, Joe Blow should have blown out. Nebraska should have beat South Alabama, who's 3rd lowest in the power ratings of all of division ball, should have beat the dog piss out of them by 35, 40 points, what they were laying. They didn't. It's not midseason form. They were still working on their quarterback center exchanges and snapping over Martinez's head. It's first game jitters, first game of the year. You're not playing a red-white scrimmage in practice where the quarterback's protected. This is the real deal. And, bear in mind that still this week, a lot of big-name schools are playing a lot of weak sisters.
Yes.
And bear in mind that those weak sisters are getting paid a lot of money to go play them, like Tennessee last week, who got upended. That's their freaking Super Bowl. They want David and Goliath. They want to beat the piss out of you. They want to go piss in the tall wheat with the big dogs. And, well, the team that played Tennessee did, and if you're not ready to play any Division I team, no matter how far down the ladder they all got 300-pounders. They all got badass middle linebackers, spit nails. They all got receivers that run 4.3, 4.4 40s. They all got 6'3" quarterbacks that can chuck it on a dime down the field 30 yards on a rope. And if you drop your guard, if you don't bring your A game, you're not going to cover 20 or 30 points.
Nope.
And then you got, and still this week in college football, the best advice I can give anybody watching this show, and I did this with every game on the board. Who are they playing next week?
Ooh.
Who's on deck?
Look
You
ahead.
know?
Yep.
Look ahead spot. Who do they got next week? You know, if you're up 42-10 and you're laying 35, and then you're disappointed because all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, you know, Nick Saban or Dabo Sweeney, he won't this week, obviously. He's got his hands full with A&M, but, you know, somebody playing a you know, Tallahassee JUCO, so to speak.
Right.
See the second and third teamers come in. Oh, what? Come on. I just need a touchdown. You know, he's not going to blow out his quarterback's knee. He's not going to ruin a running back. He's not going to ruin his cornerbacks and safeties with a 35-point lead with 8 minutes left to go. He's going to give the younger rotation players some playing time, which is good for the team down the road. And so you got to be very wary when you're throwing around big numbers this weekend. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep.
Look at those scheduling spots. Realize that, you know, there's a lot of teams out there, I think, that are undervalued this week, that are laying short numbers that look bad last week. And there's also some teams that blow somebody out. They're going to step up. You can take a look at Texas last week. They could have been looking ahead. That's the sign of a well-coached team. They played great football last week, knowing they had LSU on deck. You know, and it's a good spot for Texas. It's a good number. You know, Ogeron does not have that good of a record outside of the SEC. As a matter of fact, his last 8 games outside of the SEC, he's 2-6 against the spread. And we all know Herman is a great underdog coach between Houston and Texas. Last 15 times that guy was a dog. He covered 13 of them. I think he won 8 or 9 of them outright. So, you know, you want to be careful, you know, about
his problem is when he's a favorite. When he's a favorite, it's the problem, not when he's a dog. when Herman's a dog, good luck betting against him. My word.
I know, and of course, you know, Herb Street gave him the kiss of death. He picked him to go to the Final Four and win the Big 12 this year. So we'll see what happens, because Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma looked pretty goddamn good in that game they played the other night. I mean, they kind of fired a warning shot across the bow of every Big 12 team that said, hey, we got to transfer a quarterback in here. And we went from Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murphy, and now we got Jalen Hurts. He put up numbers that would, you know, just shock the crap out of anybody. So, you know, Big 12 is going to be competitive. We'll see.
What did you think of OSU, though? I got to tell you, you know, you got Lane Kiffin takes FAU down by me, and you know, except for the first 6 or 7 minutes of that game where they blew some assignments, you know, FAU outplayed Ohio State. I mean, Justin Fields, I get it, transfer. But if I'm Ohio State, I'm going Cincinnati's going to be a lot better than FAU, and you didn't exactly crush them, you know?
Yeah, you look at the total in that game, too. It's relatively low, and then you got 16.5, 17 points involved. I mean,
right?
You kind of look at all that scenario. You know, Cincinnati is a well-coached football team. I wouldn't say they're a live dog, but they're an attractive underdog this week for sure. Again, Ohio State, a lot like I keep bringing up Nebraska because I'm a Nebraska fan. I watched that game intently to see, you know, that this was going to be the year. They're going to go over 8 wins, and they're going to, you know, be in the narrative of the college football landscape and, you know, all that stuff you watch. You know, and I'm kind of still skeptical. I think they're a year away, but obviously Fields is a very talented guy, and he can make a play in a split second. I mean, he can chuck it 90. He can take off and go 40 on 3rd and 3 from the 20. And, I mean, just crazy things happening here. But, you know, and it's really not a huge deal that Myers stepped down because the guy was in the program. It wasn't like they – kind of like Miami. They didn't clean house. You know, Diaz was already there.
Right.
And so, but there was some things I saw in that Ohio State game. The reason they won that game, even though they were outplayed at times, they just have better athletes than FAU.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Right.
But Iffa did a nice job scheming in a very tough road opener, obviously. But I think there would be some concern this week if you're just willing to chuck down $500 and only 16.5, 17 points on Ohio State.
Yeah.
You might want to rethink that a little bit.
Amen. And,
Sure. Same thing with Clemson.
Exactly, correct.
You hear so much about Clemson. I know they put up 600 and some yards at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's under a new regime. And,
exactly.
they're trying to run a different offense. They're trying, they're down. The cupboards are bare. Clemson's loaded. But remember, I'll tell you what, Fisher knows how to coach in a big football game.
Mm-hmm.
He has athletes at Texas A&M, and you hear so much about, Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget about Kellen Mond, who's bringing back 7 starters and a lot of his playmakers, and a team that took Clemson to the wire last year in a 2-point ball game as a big dog. And the thing of it is, if you look at Clemson's schedule, at least on paper, this is their toughest game maybe till they get to the ACC championship.
I agree.
And I will tell you that Texas A&M will not go quietly in the night. They have athletes. So you've got 2 games there. You're talking about 16 to 18 points where you've got some underdogs there that are got some pretty good football teams. And turnovers, special team blunder. It takes one thing to change the momentum of that game. Even though both the favorites we're talking about are playing at home.
Yep.
You just might want to tread lightly through the tulips, so to speak.
Yep. Kellen Mond reminds me a lot of Jameis when he had Jameis at Florida State. He's got that kind of ability. Big kid, can run, can chuck it. So I don't think he's going to go quietly. And you mentioned Miami. How about Mac Brown, North Carolina, huh? He's back. I don't know if that means North Carolina is better than what we thought or if Will Muschamp and South Carolina maybe are just worse than we thought. But it's been 2 weeks now, and Miami with a really relatively young offensive line has got to go to North Carolina now and try and win a game. But it's good to see Mac Brown on the sidelines again, that's for sure.
Well, a couple of thoughts come to mind. I literally sat down and cried when Mac Brown retired from Texas because he was the best big game fade coach on the planet. He couldn't coach a big game unless he had Vince Young.
Yeah.
I mean, so I always liked him in a big game, but I will tell you, it was a combination of things there. Frankly, I thought North Carolina had a better team. I think Muschamp is a great defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a great head coach. Mac Brown is a veteran head coach. There was a lot of emotion involved with him coming back, obviously. But the glaring thing that stood out to me that I think is an advantage for them as an underdog over a fall number this weekend, Joe, is the fact that their quarterback's a true freshman too, just like Miami's,
right.
Howells. And he orchestrated 2, not 1, but 2 90-yard drives to come back and win that football game as a freshman. And I didn't see Miami's quarterback doing that. And that showed me a lot about that kid. And I think that if you have a live home dog this weekend, you definitely would have to take North Carolina and put them in that category. And both these schools have had to deal with bad weather all week with, this hurricane on the East Coast, and they're coming up the coast, and I don't think North Carolina got hit as bad, or Miami. It was a little north of Miami, but there was a lot of rain and trepidation and worry about. And they're all human, and you have to deal with stuff like that. So it may have been a little bit of a distraction for both teams. So that's even, And I think that it wasn't. South Carolina's got a good football team. They got a good quarterback. They always play good defense. We know that with Muschamp at the reins. But at the end of the day, that was one of the more. There was a lot of sharps on South Carolina last week out here in Vegas.
Big time.
A lot of sharps. Big time money.
Yep.
And I saw, I read the sports forums because I like to go into them and find out how big of a piece of crap I am on a daily basis as a professional handicapper.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I saw in there a lot of big name handicappers that I have respect for. Had plays on South Carolina last week, and I was a little surprised. I didn't know what to think about the Mac Brown debut. I didn't know what to think about the freshman quarterback versus a veteran quarterback versus an SEC team. who was a little disappointing last year, but brought back some key pieces. So I stayed away. That was one of those games you take notes on. And there's a lot of those this weekend in the NFL. You want to take notes?
Mm-hmm.
You want to take notes on the Pittsburgh and New England game. You want to stay away from it.
Yeah, far.
Far away from it. You can have an opinion, maybe teaser fun with it, but that's it. But there's a lot of games this weekend you're going to want to take notes on and live to fight another day. There's 100 games to bet.
Mm-hmm.
So pick and choose 4 or 5 or 6 of them you like. Get on it. And Monday Night Football, there's 2 games. The lines are sharp.
Yep.
You don't know what we're going to get out of the Raiders now without Brown. That's just a freaking. This isn't HBO Hard Knocks anymore. This is the real deal.
Crazy.
And you're playing a real defense without your biggest playmaker that you spent a ton of money to go out and get.
Right.
That's been a huge distraction for that team. And then on the other side of the coin, what's Flacco going to do? Is he on the downside of the career?
Yep.
I mean, what do you think? Is he on the down? When you get benched for Lamar Jackson, you are on the downside of your career.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl was 2013. That's 6 years ago now.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of games you want to take a look at and go, I want to see what happens.
Yes.
I'm not willing to lay 5.5 with Cleveland yet. Tennessee's one of my super contest picks.
Love them.
Hey, that's a bad number. You're betting into numbers and not into games. Laying 10, bad number.
Mm-hmm.
6.5 on the road for Ravens. Tough number to lay.
Yep.
Miami sucks. You live there. Are you going to score any points?
It's 91 degrees and 100% humidity. It's a little difficult to come into Miami in September and just run people over. That's for sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of those things that you scratch your head and maybe come over to DOCSPORTS.com, check out some of the free content we have, the articles, the marquee matchup video. Each week we have a marquee matchup. Scott Spreitzer and I break down the biggest game of the weekend, and this weekend is Pats and Steelers. We do the 10 and 10 games in 10 minutes. A lot of the games we discussed. If you're in Vegas looking for a proxy for the Super Contest and the Circuit Contest, the shutoff is tomorrow. Plays got to be entered. VegasProxyGirl.com for that. She's down working both places all day today and up until tomorrow at the deadline, 10 a.m. Pacific at Westgate, 3 p.m. at Circa. So, nonetheless, I will be tweeting out. We gave away a Westgate Super Contest. DOCSPORTS did. Wade over at Docs. We gave away a free entry. Their team with me in a pro-am type scenario. I don't know if that's good or bad for the winner, but he stuck with me. And we're going to go ahead and tweet out our Sunday card. I contribute a couple of picks, and he contributes more than me, and we're going to run that up the poll, so that'll be fun on Twitter at TGeorgeSports. So be sure and look for that on Sunday morning before the games go off.
You got your card up here, Ton, at Doc Sports. We got up on the screen. I see you got a big seven unit play Major League Baseball. You've already got you got a couple of futures. You got NASCAR, so you got a little something for everyone to take that free $60 and go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Like choose what direction that you want to go into at this point.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys over there right now that are hot. I don't know. I didn't get to the homepage today, but going into last week, Doc Sports and his handicapping crew under the Doc Sports banner on the homepage was undefeated in Canadian football this year. I think at 11-0.
Wow.
I can't see there's Doc Sports with Wade's picture there. I can see. They're probably if they've got a loss, they've only got one of them.
Wow.
So Canadian football, WNBA, we've got all the bases covered for you there. Back with a pure profit guarantee. Videos from 7 or 8 guys with free picks every day. I mean, we're transparent. We're open. We give you a lot of free information. You can see the articles, in the headline articles. And they break down game by game. There's free picks in almost every game. So be sure and get over there. And, hey, look, I don't buy picks from handicappers. Okay, don't buy picks from handicappers then, but go get informed.
Exactly.
There's a ton of information over there, and it may – you ask yourself a few questions and maybe they can be answered with some of that free content.
Yep.
Joe.
Yeah, and don't forget, guys, too, as well. We'll put it up here. Superbook, Super Contest, guys. It is so simple, right? It is VegasProxyGirl.com right there on the screen. You guys can see it. Just log on. Picks got to get in, so you got a phone number right there. If you visit, contact information, all there. It's simple, guys. You need, and this is a big thing, Tony, because it's come up a lot now with the Super Contest and all. Having somebody that you can rely upon that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, that's going to be on top of it for you,
right.
It's pretty damn valuable. I'm hearing horror stories over the years from people who just couldn't find a good proxy service.
Yeah, and Annette, that's her name. It's obviously that pretty girl on the screen there is my wife. She obviously knows the gambling business. She's been married to me for 31 miserable years. I'm sure she would.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no kidding. She has got herself and two partners that help her. She's picked up a lot of and a lot of Joe Raineri people have called her and mentioned your show and got the $30 discount. Her rate is one of the lowest ones in town, and they have an Excel spreadsheet program to enter in all the picks and all the times and open communication between texting and emailing, and you can pick up and call her on the phone anytime. And this is her third year doing it, and she's never missed one yet, never entered one wrong yet. So I'm as John Gruden would say on HBO Hard Knocks, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So she's locked and loaded, and she's down there. Just call her number. She's running back and forth from the Circa to the Westgate all day long.
Perfect.
And there's other contests in town. Somebody that listened to your show a couple weeks ago DM'd me on Twitter and said, is she doing any of the college contests? And no, she's not.
Okay.
I think Williams got one. The Nuggets got one. I think there's a
combo
standing.
too, isn't there? Isn't there one at college and which is that's mind blowing.
Yeah, and so, but between the Circa and the Circa, they were Derek Stevens down there. They were struggling to get signups early,
right?
And the last time I saw, they went from they hovered around 300 to 500 for about a week or two there. I'm thinking, boy, he's gonna, because he guaranteed 1.5 million in payouts.
Yep.
And he's coming out of his pocket, and he had his overlay of what he was going to owe.
Yep.
And he exceeded 1,500 on Sunday, and it's been all week now. And that's down there now. I don't know what the number. I tweeted out when he got over 1,500. I tweeted out the picture when I was down there Sunday night. Bet Colorado at 7. Or 6.5, I think. By the time I got to the counter, they were getting hit immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, he's broken even and gonna, the price pool is gonna go up a little bit. So
right.
That's good for the Circuit. And of course, the Westgate, that's the granddaddy of them all. They're gonna have 3,500 plus, and it's gonna be 1.5 million to the winner. 100 places they're gonna pay out. They paid out over 28 million in prize money since the inception of the con. I think it was 84, 85 when it started. I had Jay Cornegay on the Happy Hour show, and he talked about that. But it's there's a lot of money. There's $3-4 million in those two contests, and there's a lot of people that thinking they're going to win it. So it's going to be interesting. It's here.
It's going to be fun, guys. And again, only game in town. The East Coast hasn't really caught up yet. So these contests, the Super Contest, is one place for them, which is why it helps to know people there. VegasProxyGirl.com. Get there, guys. Information is available. And Tony, before I let you go, there was one other thing I noticed last night that folks should know about. Tony, watching that Thursday night game last night, also, he tweeted out the second half winner there, in fact. And are you still doing the second half? If guys follow you at TGeorgeSports on Twitter, you still pushing out the second half lines if you like them?
Yes, I am. Since we did not we've developed some technology. It'll be available next year on the website for a texting service where I will text you, or not only me, but other handicappers of your choice there, whoever you like, will text you out a halftime line or two, a couple on Saturday, a couple on Sunday. Every game has a halftime line, but there's not a lot of them that are. But I thought under 23 was going to be huge in the second half of that game.
Big time.
And I personally bet, I think I had 330 on the Bears to win. And I could see at halftime, there's no way they're going to win. And you never say never, but the way it looked, But so I came back and put, another 330 to get my money back on the under in that second half. And I tweeted at stations on my app, and I can do that legally here. But nonetheless, if you follow me at TGeorgeSports, probably not tonight because I'm not going to get involved in these high chalky college football games tonight. I'm not going to say, hey, lay the 27.5 of Virginia in that night. Playing, Southeast Community College. But, at the end of the day, tomorrow and on Sunday, be looking. I'll tweet out some halftime lines. And these are lines that I am betting.
Right.
And you can have them for free. Next year, you can pay for them. I did this during the NBA when you and I were doing shows together.
Absolutely. Yep. Crushing it.
Crushing it. The NBA on halftime lines, I am telling you, and I'm urging Wade to get this on so I can maybe get paid a few bucks for helping everybody win some money. But that being said, I'll continue to tweet them until we have that service available on the ones I like and bet. I don't go bet 7 or 8 of them, at halftime, but I'll find 1 or 2 and go, boy, that's just a stupid line.
Yep.
Who's going to score in this freaking game? Why is that 23?
Yep.
So especially when the total started out at 46. I mean, so it was just there was value there. So follow me on Twitter. We'll get you hooked up.
Yeah, it's perfect. Arizona tonight, free play, Major League Baseball. Get over to YouTube, guys. Follow the DOCSPORTS page. Tony's doing interviews after interviews. The 10 for 10 yesterday, Tony. You're going to be doing those every week. How is that working over there at YouTube?
Every week, 10 for 10. Scott Spreitzer, myself, from the studios that DOCSPORTS built. And we stand there and we give you 10 games in 10 minutes. We break them down and give you our comments. And then 2 out of those 10 games, somewhere along the line, we'll say, this is my free pick. And I have a free pick on that. I'm going to make you go watch it to let you know what it is.
Love it. That's right. Earn it, damn it. Earn it. That's right. Earn it. It's a great video, guys, and it's knowledgeable. I mean, we talk about knowledge being power. You got 2 of the game's best guys talking about 10 you go in there. There's a lot that can be learned simply by just listening to how these guys break the games down. Yeah.
And in that 10 and 10, Scott Spreitzer, who is a very talented individual and a well-known handicapper, talented media guy, talented handicapper, tells it like it is, just like I do.
Yep.
Legend out here in Las Vegas gave you in that 10 and 10, gave you some great teaser advice.
Yep. That's
well worth tuning in right there. Forget the free picks. If you can learn how to build a better mousetrap or bet better, it's worth listening to. So be sure and tune in to the 10 and 10.
You got it. All right, YouTube, guys, Arizona tonight. Make sure you get the DOCSPORTS. Sign up on the links below. Get the free $60. Utilize it. Tony will be ready to rock and roll. And more importantly, don't let those second-half lines go to waste, guys. He's tweeting them out at TGeorgeSports. Get there. It's like free money. What the hell are you doing? Tony George, pleasure, brother. Good luck this weekend, man. Enjoy yourself. We'll talk to you again next week.
Next week, baby. Thanks, Joe.
You got it. Tony George, DOCSPORTS.com. Guys, get there.
Feeling 10 feet tall, like a baller dog. I'm talking stronger living, I'm talking stronger soul. We taking our position